Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a review for the Traitors Series 3 2024 Episode 7. So at the beginning of this episode we obviously found out that we were halfway through the deathmatch game that Traitors, Linda and Mina had put these 4 contestants through. So we found that Anna had obviously saved herself from the game, Alexander had saved himself from the game, and it was either Leon or Fozia who were going to be eliminated and basically murdered in daylight, well, at night time. Leon basically said he was here for his sons, his wife and his family. Fozia said that she obviously wanted to win the game and try and find those traitors and, you know, get all the way to the end. And they basically both just said to each other, you know, good luck, like whatever happens. Like Fozia basically said to him, I hope you get through to the end, and he said exactly the same thing to her. It was a bit of a weird situation because obviously they don't really know each other and only one of them are going to get through, and they wanted it to be them, but at the same time they did have to kind of think that maybe it couldn't be them and actually to, you know, cheer on that other person. Claudia basically came back and explained there were 8 cards on the table, 7 of the cards had death, 1 of the cards had life, and it was basically a simple little mini game. They basically just had to find a life card. So the first 4 cards that were pulled, Fozia pulled a death card, Leon pulled a death card, Fozia pulled another death card, and Leon got another death card. And then just before we were about to reveal the 5th card, which was Fozia's 3rd attempt, we had a flashback. So Mina and Linda at breakfast the following day, Mina basically said that that was very scary, that what they had to do, and Linda said that obviously it was nice that they can have a little chat with each other before some of the other players came into the room. Mina said that the other players are potentially going to think that at least one traitor is within that mix of 4, so that kind of takes the heat off of the 2 of them for a little bit. Linda basically, I think Mina kind of said that there was a little bit of heat on Linda the other day in terms of, you know, people thinking she's a traitor and, you know, people starting to come together with evidence and things like that. And Linda said, look, if it seems to be going that way, just vote me out. Like, I absolutely, like, you're welcome to, like, vote me out kind of thing, and I want you to go all the way. And Mina basically, when some of the other players came in, she just said, I didn't even feel like I was going to make it last night. So obviously she's back into her faithful mode. But when she said that, Francesca looked over a bit weirded out, a bit like, why are you saying that? Like, no one even has any suspicions of you, but actually, is that something that a traitor would want? To not have smoke and then pretend that they were actually going to get caught when actually they had no intentions of being murdered anyway. So I think Francesca just looked at her like a bit weird, because obviously maybe it was only her that heard, but it's almost like Mina, who hasn't even had anyone say that she's a traitor, could say, oh, didn't think I was going to survive last night. Fran's gone a bit like, right, a bit suspicious, but nothing was brought up about that at breakfast. Leanne said to some of the players that potentially Fozia or Alexander could have come into the game as a traitor. Obviously they were the 2 from the train in the original game, from right at the beginning, and yet at least one of them could be brought in, or potentially it's a double bluff where actually they're both faithful and it's traitors that have put them in the game, which is obviously of course what happened. And then Freddie basically revealed that obviously Anna, Leon, Fozia and Alexander, none of the 4 of them had come back to breakfast, and we weren't going to find out that soon. Claudia decided to come in for breakfast and surprise them. Freddie basically said if it's Leon that leaves, he'll be fuming, and Mina, as soon as Claudia walked through the door, she was like, Claudia's entrance shocked me. Like, obviously she and Linda knew who they had murdered the previous night, but yeah, the fact that Claudia came in instead of the 3 that survived, yeah, Mina said that even at that point she was a bit like, I don't really know what is going on. And Claudia obviously revealed that 3 of the players were missing. 1 of the players had actually been murdered in daylight last night. Their mission was Columbo, and she basically said, does anyone here like Columbo? Freddie asked who Columbo was, and obviously he's probably a little bit too young to understand who that is. Basically, a Columbo is like a detective from the past, and yeah. Basically, Linda explained that she was feeling nervous. Charlotte said that at least we know that Fozia being... no, she didn't say that. Linda said she was feeling nervous. Charlotte said that's another faithful that has been murdered. And Freddie said potentially that could mean if it was done in pure daylight, it's somebody or something in the house that has kind of been altered. Jake said he potentially hopes that Anna or Leon have come back. Lisa said that obviously there are 2 people that they know, and if one of the newbies comes back, that person potentially could be the traitor, and the other newbie has sacrificed themselves for the other one, basically. And then you could see, yeah, Lisa was talking to Joe, Mina and Jake there, and I think Linda as well. And then we saw Freddie, Jake, Charlotte and Lisa having a conversation, with Freddie saying potentially it could be Linda, Jake saying that her defence is a little bit weak, and he basically said to the camera he's either got it completely wrong and he's been barking up the wrong tree, or he's had it right from day one that Linda is a traitor. So he's still not going away from his ideology of him thinking that Linda's a traitor, just for the fact of her head turn and some of the weird things that she's been doing. Lisa also explained to that group that Linda had confused her a little bit, saying that she wasn't emotional, and then obviously began to cry when Livy was murdered. Charlotte was also chatting to this group saying potentially traitors could be Leon, Leanne and Mina, with Freddie saying definitely not Leanne. So it's almost like at this point, is Freddie sticking up for Leanne too much that people are going to think he and her are working together? Is Charlotte going to be suspicious of Freddie, that he's trying to 100% back someone like Leanne, who is already kind of not in the firing line, but people already have their suspicions on her? So yeah, the fact that Freddie was like, no, it's definitely not Leanne, kind of has her swinging that way. And then Charlotte also says she's not sure if she's actually having conversations with traitors, because obviously at that point Freddie left the conversation and she said, well, hopefully I'm not feeding traitors information to then pass on to other traitors, or, you know, things like that, or to put her in the firing line. So yeah, Charlotte's like, yeah, I'm talking to people who I'm presuming are faithful until proven otherwise, but if they are traitors and they're playing a really good game, they're going to nickel her information, throw her under the bus, and that's her out of the game. Freddie said to Leanne that he hopes Leon is safe. Leanne said potentially the two people that she's closest to, Leon and Mina, could be traitors, and Freddie said that Leanne's name has been brought up, and sometimes it was said that she was a little bit bossy. Leanne was wondering why both of the newbies had been picked, and Mina wanted to try and have a conversation with some of the other players to see what other people were thinking. So she was having a little chat with Freddie, and I think Leanne as well, potentially. Claudia then revealed that they had to find the 3 missing players. So obviously one player had been murdered, so they were not coming back to the game, they weren't faithful, but they had to try and find the other 3 players in 60 minutes, and they would add £6,500 to the prize pot. The first clue was hunt me if you dare, and obviously one of the places on the map was called Stag Forest. So stag is like a deer or a horse or something, so yeah, hunt, stag kind of works very well. So that's the first venue that they went to. And Claudia also revealed to the camera that she hadn't told the players that their other missing players were actually hidden in coffins. Not sure how long they were there for, probably a matter of 5 or 10 minutes before the players got there. But yeah, they'd just been stuck in the coffins. They were probably there for at least half an hour, who knows. Charlotte was having a conversation with Lisa and Alex, saying that she hopes Anna and Leon are both safe. And they ended up finding their first coffin, which Anna was stuck in, and she basically explained what of the game she remembered from the previous day. Because she was the first one that had won the game, she kind of only knew that she was safe and then was just as confused as the other players. But she basically said they had this death match, that to get a life card, she picked the one from Fosia, and yeah, she obviously then was at the end of the round with the life card and she was the first one out of the game. So she basically said, yeah, I'm basically just as confused as everybody else, but it was traumatic. And Linda said that she saw how Anna was and that she was shaking and she felt a little bit bad. And then she said, well, actually, I don't feel that bad. I feel a little bit bad, but not that bad. And then they had 30 minutes left to try and find the other 2 players. Anna also said to the people that she was in the little car with that it almost seems like the traitors have had it out for her since day 1. And she's not going home without taking at least 1 traitor with her. For the second coffin, it was actually on water, so it was kind of just floating in the water, and Francesca took the lead on this one, dragging the coffin from the water straight away. And when the second person came out of the coffin, it was Alexander. Joe looked a bit disappointed. Alex said he was suspicious because Alexander looked so relaxed, having been in a coffin for so long. When Alexander was explaining the game, he was speaking in hypothetical terms, in terms of, well, if I would have gone first, then this, and this would have happened. And Joe basically was just like, well, hang on, why didn't he just tell the exact story? Why was he hypothesizing? Why was he not just saying, well, this is exactly what happened, this is what I remember, this, maybe these clues will help you? Yeah, Leanne was obviously a little bit suspicious of that as well. So Alex and Leanne Leanne and Joe and Alex kind of all had their suspicions here of Alexander. And then the third and final venue they went to was something to do with alcohol, so they went to the distillery. And Freddie said that although there was nothing against Fosia, Leon was his guy and he hoped that Leon came back. And then Mina basically, she revealed in terms of the crime scene. She was going to make out she had no idea of what happened, what scene, what crime, like who knows what went on, like oh my goodness, this looks really bad. And the players basically ended up back at the place where those 4 players had played that little mini game, and they had to find the last player at the burial site by counting how many star cards there were, which there were 8, and then finding the coffin which had Roman numerals 8, which was VIII, which at first they thought was VII. They thought they were looking at the right one, then realised it was number 7, and then they finally went to the correct one. They had 3 minutes to rescue this 3rd and final player, with Jake saying, I'm praying it's Leon, because obviously he also said nothing against Fozia, but Leon was his guy from the beginning. And then we went flashback to the game from the previous evening, so we're now back into night time. Fozia's next card was death, and Leon's next card was life. He looked so happy, he literally jumped up from the table with excitement. So he obviously saved himself, which meant that Fozia was going to be murdered in pure daylight, well, or nighttime. So Leon jumped in the car, he went back off to the castle, because obviously he is not able to be revealed to who the traitors were. So yeah, Fozia was kind of just sitting at the chair, and she saw these 2 figures coming towards her with capes, obviously being Linda and Mina. They took off their capes, and Mina gave her the card saying, by order of the traitors, Fozia, you have been murdered. Yeah, just before Leon left, he said to Fozia, look, I promise you I'm a faithful, and that, you know, I'm gonna get through the game for you as well. And Fozia looked up and saw Linda, because Linda was smiling. Mina looked very angry and very just, you know, with it. Linda was giggling and smiling, and Fozia said, Linda, I knew it was you. Get a good night's sleep, because you're next, darling, or something like that. Yeah, obviously when the final players revealed Leon out of the coffin, Francesca said, well, at least that confirmed that Fozia was a faithful. She could have actually been a really, really good faithful. And then Leon was a little bit confused, saying, someone's actually put me in this position. Alexander said that Fozia was his closest ally, but now the fact that she's gone and she was a faithful, it's going to now make him look like he was a traitor that kind of put himself in this game. Leon said he doesn't really know who to trust. Anna, Alexander and Leon, the 3 that survived that game, were all in a car, with Anna saying, why would I put myself through that? And Charlotte was speaking to Lisa and Alex, saying that nobody's ever questioned Leon, and that people might go heavy for Alexander just purely because of the fact of 2 newbies are in the game. What are the chances that they're both faithful? Freddie said to Linda, and Freddie was actually in a car with Linda and Mina, so he was actually in a car with both of the traitors without realising. And Linda basically said that potentially Leanne could be a traitor because of her Livy comment out of the blue, saying that Livy apparently thought Linda was a traitor, where actually Linda and Livy were quite close. And then Anna said to Leanne, because they had a conversation when they got back to the house, she said to Leanne, I must be right about something, because obviously that's why I'm still here, that's why I've survived. And she was obviously saying that she needed to look for clues in terms of why and how she was put into that game. And she said, well, hang on, Mina told me to hold her drink. I've potentially caught onto something, that is the reason why I was in the game, because I held someone's drink, and that was the little signal of, this is somebody I want to pick for the game. Mina was having a conversation with Lisa, Linda, Alex and Joe, and she said it's going to be an interesting round table, with Linda saying, yeah, she's going to spill as much information now as she can, with Joe saying to Linda that you should be sharing your piece every single round table, not just now. You should be sharing all of your information from day dot. So he was obviously suspicious of her, saying, like, hang on, why are you kind of now hiding information, and why are you only now starting to reveal stuff? So Linda was like, no, I completely made a mistake. That's why I'm going to start revealing it this evening. Freddie was having a conversation with Leanne and Jake, with Freddie saying that Linda brought up Leanne's name. Leanne said, well, I said that I was suspicious of her anyway. I feel like Leanne's suspicious of Linda anyway, so the fact that Leanne has now been brought up by Linda, it's almost like the whole Joe situation when Joe said, actually, Linda, I think it's you. Linda then said, well, actually, Joe, I think it's you. So she's just like backfiring on that. So Linda, Lisa, Joe and Alex were all having a conversation in the kitchen. Leanne walked in and they were all just saying, oh, who do you all think the traitors are? And Linda basically looked over and said, well, actually, I was just about to say something about you, Leanne, saying that, yeah, apparently Leanne had said that Linda was lying about Livy being suspicious of her or something like that. And basically one of Leanne's comments was quite rude, with Leanne saying, no, my comment wasn't rude. Well, no. Leanne's comment towards Linda was apparently rude. Yeah, it basically Leanne said something, Linda thought it was rude, and yeah, Leanne was basically just trying to back herself up, saying, well, hang on, if my name's actually brought up at this round table, I'm going to fight back. Like, I know I'm a traitor and I'm not having people come at me, is basically kind of how the conversation was. So it was all to do with that Livy situation. I think Leanne said something about the Livy situation. Linda got a little bit angry about it and then obviously tried to put the blame on Leanne. So that's kind of where that was. Alex and Linda were also having a little chat, just briefly, the two of them. And he said that sometimes Leanne does shout and she does get loud. What's going to happen if he challenges that at the round table? Alexander was speaking to Charlotte and Francesca, saying actually he needs to speak to two faithful who he actually trusts in, so get a little group together. And he thinks potentially there are two traitors, Leanne and Mina, and he wants to talk to two people that, yeah, he feels like he can trust. Francesca said that Leanne has been a little bit off, a little bit too cool, calm and collected, and Charlotte added that Alexander's going to come under a lot of heat at the round table, purely because of the fact that Fozia was a faithful, and two new people, what's the chances they're both going to be faithful, and also the fact that he was at the game and didn't actually look like he was, you know, changed by the game. It was kind of almost like, oh, I played a little mini game and I survived kind of thing. Just before the round table, Leon said he's now got a massive X on his back. Alexander said that now Fozia is dead, and because of the death match, there's going to be an element of dead man walking. Leanne said if her name is brought up, she's not going to be having it. And Linda said, you never know what to expect with the round table. I'm going to obviously fight back if people start putting my name into the prize, into the circle. We found out the prize pot is currently 41,000, and Claudia revealed the statistic that they had lost 10 faithful in the game, and they'd only managed to catch one traitor. And to start the round table, it was Linda, so she decided to start the round table, saying, I'm just going to start with Jake. The fact that he misinterpreted what she said at the beginning of the game. So right at the beginning, it's not that she said she didn't have any emotion, it's she said that she keeps her emotions inside, she keeps her emotions to herself. And she also said about Leanne that she didn't say Leanne's comment was rude, she just said what Leanne had said was a little bit out of place, the fact that it just kind of came out of the blue. Leanne said she was also suspicious of Linda because Livy had actually also explained that she was suspicious of Linda, and that little fact doesn't actually bring anything to the game because that player is now not in the game, and it's just kind of hearsay. It's just someone saying that they don't trust someone, but there's no evidence and there's no factual reasoning as to why. Jake said that at this round table, it's actually the first time seeing a strong defence from Linda, and Anna then jumped in and said, well, she was told to look for a sign that somebody picked her for this mini game or this death match, and she said Mina handed a drink to her before moving into another room. Mina basically put her hands up and said, look, I'm not a traitor, I just happened to offer you and ask you to hold a drink for me just while I was going to another room, and that if we were going to move room, just take the drink with you. It wasn't any matter of sort of gameplay or anything like that, and she said, I'm not a traitor, I'm a faithful, and it was just a matter of her holding a drink to just help her out. Joe was speaking to Alexander and Leon. He basically asked that exact same question to the two of them, saying, well, hang on, did either of you hand somebody a drink, or did anyone remember either of the two of them being handed a drink by Alexander or Leon? And yeah, I think both of them kind of would just like, no. Alexander actually replied back to Joe about his accusation of Alexander being hypothetical with the mini game he played, and Alexander said, well, the game was just all about chance. He's not 100% sure what happened, and obviously as soon as Anna and he had won their life card, he's not going to know what happened next because there were still two players left. Leon said that he has to look at both Anna and Alexander from the death match, because obviously although the four of them were put in there as faithfuls, they don't know if one of them is technically an undercover traitor to try and get somebody else out of the game, so kind of sabotage one of the traitors in order to save 1, 2, 3, however many they think are in the game. He also said there's not enough evidence to pick either of those, and he's also wondering who is saving him from all of these mini games and who's kind of like putting him in these mini games, with Leanne also kind of adding, well, again, same with what Leon just said, how am I still here? It would hurt me if Leon's a traitor, and it would hurt me if someone close to me is a traitor. She didn't mention Mina, but I think she's kind of saying, well, yeah, someone close to her could either be Mina or could be Leon, who I think were actually sitting on either side of her at the round table as well. Leon also jumped in and said Linda's name has been here for ages, so, you know, although he might not have any specific information or evidence on her, just the fact that her name's been floating around as traitor, 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 he's going to kind of just stick by that. Lisa said that she had question marks on Alexander, and Linda, and she's kind of not sure why she's still here. Again, like Leanne, she said she's going to be looking at those people that she's close to, and she said, as sad as it is to potentially be looking at someone like Linda, because obviously they're both the older ladies in the game who, you know, have this close bond. She said she's not even good at the game and she doesn't even know why she's there, but yeah, she has to look at those that are closest to her as well. And then Alex said, in terms of the theory that he had, it was basically like a theory in progress, and he said all of the people that will plan that death match were close to Leanne. So is it a way for her to kind of make it look like it's not her that's a traitor and that actually she is, and just put the wild card in there as Alexander, because obviously Alexander doesn't really know her that much. Maybe potentially he's a traitor and potentially maybe she's a traitor. Leanne said, I'm not a traitor. And I think this is when Alexander and Leanne had a little conversation or argument, whatever you want to call it. And I was a little bit confused because it was just very, very fast, backwards and forwards. I think what basically happened is Alexander said that obviously Mina and Leanne both got shields. Mina was like, oh, this is great. And when Leanne got a shield from Fozia, who's obviously no longer in the game, she was surprised that when she had the shield, she actually was then there at breakfast. So I think from Leanne's point of view, it's almost like, I've got my shield. They did actually try and kill me, which is why nobody didn't not come back to breakfast. That's why everyone did come back, basically. Whereas Alexander's thinking, well, hang on, you've got a shield. Is it maybe the fact that you're a traitor because you knew nobody was going to come back and you had the shield, and it's kind of like a double bluff? So I think that's kind of what their conversation was, that she was more worried about that someone had actually tried to kill her, whereas he was thinking, well, hang on, no, someone didn't try and kill you. It's almost like you knew that no one was going to die because there was some weird mini game or some situation that happened, and it almost looked like she was a traitor in that respect. And yeah, Alexander said potentially there's more chance that they had tried to recruit. So maybe Leanne was recruited instead of, like, she had her shield, they tried to recruit her, but then they tried to kill her, but then actually they couldn't because she had a shield. So yeah, something like that. And Leanne basically said to him that it's almost like she's being accused and she's being patronised by Alexander, saying, well, hang on, do you think they're actually voting for you, or do you think they actually want a new traitor? Something like that. I'm not 100% sure the theories that were going on here. Basically, Leanne was defending herself, thinking that Alex was patronising her. And yeah, she basically, as a final comment for the round table, said, it's actually embarrassing. We actually haven't found any more traitors since that one we found a couple of episodes ago. In the end, when it came down to the votes, Linda voted for Alexander, Francesca voted for Leanne, Joe voted for Linda, Lisa voted for Alexander, Freddie voted for Linda, Alex voted for Leanne, Charlotte and Jake both voted for Linda, Anna voted for Mina, Alexander voted for Leanne. And this is where I was a little bit confused, because the next vote was Mina, and I had a little inkling that she was going to do this. She went traitor against traitor, and again, she had that pass from Linda to say, you know, if it's going to end up going my way, you have my blessing to do it. So Mina also voted for Linda, because she didn't need to look suspicious. She didn't want to look suspicious by picking some random person. But actually, there was a lot of evidence about Linda being a traitor. So yeah, Mina went for Linda. Leanne also went for Linda. And finally, last but not least, Leon also went for Linda. So with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 votes, Linda was banished. And it was basically revealed to everyone that Linda was in fact a traitor. Jake got really, really excited. I think they all started screaming and getting happy, but Jake was like, day one, I knew it from day one. So yeah, he basically was just like, you know what, I'm the king. I knew Linda was a traitor from day one, and they actually finally believed him and got her out. And then we also realised that Mina was the final traitor left. So she had played an incredible game. Not only did she knock out that first traitor, Armani, and then she's obviously stuck with Linda for a little bit, and then, you know, they tried to recruit Anna. That didn't work out. They've now lost Linda. Anna's obviously still in the back of her mind going to be thinking, oh my goodness, the traitors tried to recruit me. Yeah, Mina is now the final traitor left at the moment. Francesca just looked a bit confused. She kind of was just asking herself, what am I missing? What was I missing from that situation? Mina said that she's going to miss Linda, and that she and her got so far together in the game. But, you know, sometimes you have to let people go. And she said, Linda gave me the blessing to vote her out if the time was right. And the time was right in that game. Leanne also said, that was nearly me, guys. So, you know, it would have been a completely different result if you would have got rid of me from the game. And then Lisa said, yeah, the Lisa and Linda club, that's obviously no more. And Jake said he was right about Linda from day one. Leanne just said she's a very emotional person, so she may come across like she's, you know, targeting people or sticking up for herself too much, but she's passionate. and yeah, she's emotional. So when people come for her, she's gonna, you know, fight back. Joe did a little drink cheers. He did 3 cheers for Jake and said that if Jake wasn't already married, he'd have got down on one knee and proposed to him or whatever as his fellow faithful. I think Joe might be gay, by the way, I'm not 100% sure. Jake also said that, you know, he had a feeling that Linda kept keeping him in the game, so he kind of knew that it was her. And Francesca was speaking to both Leanne and Charlotte, saying she was suspicious of Alex, Freddie and Mina. And Francesca said, well, hang on, whose name is always in different conversations? Mina. And that she hasn't actually been targeted as of yet. And then outside, I think you had 5 or 6 of them sitting down. I think you had Alexander, you had Mina, you had Anna, I think Joe, a couple of the others sitting outside, with Alexander asking how many traitors are left. Mina said potentially maybe 1, and Anna said they will be absolutely bricking it, the fact that another one of their traitors has been removed from the game. When Mina went into the Traitors turret, she said it's a bit lonely in the tower, she can't do this by herself. Claudia quickly came to say hello, and Mina basically explained that, you know, Linda, she went out fighting and she gave her the blessing to remove her from the game, and Claudia said yes, she went out with an absolute like fight, like she did really, really well. And she also said that as the rules of the game, there can't be one traitor, so she now has to recruit somebody face to face. If they say yes, that person's recruited, Mina and that person will then kill. If she recruits and they say no, that person's murdered and will obviously leave the game, because you can't have another person who said, oh hang on, I was recruited and I also said no, because then you've got Anna and this next person. And then again, who can you trust, who can you not trust? People are probably still questioning Anna because she's had that potential recruitment. Yeah, she's still a question mark on some people's minds. And Mina said that she only wants to pick a female because obviously because of the sisterhood. She said girls, girls, girls since the beginning. Obviously she can't re-recruit Anna, and she said she needs to have a strong female, someone that she thinks can actually pull it off as being a traitor. So she said Charlotte potentially could be a strong choice because she's very, very smart. She, you know, although she has voted for Charlotte at one of the round tables, she thinks she could be a good idea. Potentially Francesca, because people believe everything she says and they will obviously believe her as a faithful. And then for Lisa, she said, how can I potentially seduce a priest? Nobody looks at her in terms of being a traitor. And we found out that the person who was seduced for the face-to-face meeting with Mina was actually Charlotte. So Charlotte basically opened this letter in the little private room, and it basically invited her to a private meeting, and she said, well, I don't really think I can't go, and I don't really want to disobey any instructions. So she was kind of like saluting to the fact of, I'm going to have to go and have this chat. You could see Mina there in her cape, kind of just facing down, waiting for Charlotte to come along. And Mina said that anyone coming into the Traitors turret is going to have trust issues, not just with her, but who any of the traitors would have been. Could have been with Linda or with Amani at the beginning, but they're going to have trust issues because obviously the traitors have been getting people out of the game one by one. And yeah, Mina basically just wondered whether or not Charlotte's actually going to accept. So I think at this point, Charlotte doesn't know how many traitors there are. Mina obviously knows it's just her left. If Charlotte does say yes, she will also know that Mina was the final traitor by herself and she'd managed to knock out Linda, so she'll know that she potentially could go against Charlotte, but also she has to, if she says yes to being a traitor, she stays in the game. Whereas if she sticks to her convictions, doesn't become a traitor, then she's basically just knocked herself out of the game. So if I was in Charlotte's shoes, I would say yes, be wary of Mina, but say yes to being a traitor, help her, help you to get further in the game, and actually they could split the money between the two of them. So very interesting episode 7. Like I said, very, very female focused right now. Like a lot of the boys have been going out in a row. Obviously I know we've just lost Linda, but 3 guys, Cass, Tyler, and the other one had all gone in a row. What's his name? Dan. So yeah, the fact that there's more females left in the game, and you know, they're all starting to take control. 3 female traitors, 1 female recruited but didn't actually accept. Another female recruited face to face, will she accept? And we're over halfway as well. So yeah, like I said, it's getting really, really juicy. But if you did enjoy my review, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my next review, episode 8, I will see you then. And until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.